You guys, so I don't know who's going, but we're doing a bus tour on Saturday. So I don't know who's going to make it out there, but we're going to basically look at 7 properties and take a nice tour of the Antelope Valley and some of the investment deals that we're doing there. And I think that's going to be a lot of value. I mean, I honestly think that's like a $10,000 value.
What's up, you guys? We just finished Ask Alex number 67. This was an awesome webinar, one of my favorites, the virtual open house networking event where we just got to, kind of shoot it and connect with everybody in the tribe. So Alex, what were your biggest takeaways today, man?
So a couple big takeaways was, one, we talked about some of these outside the box properties that you come across, right? They're property farther out, or they're a manufactured home, or they're a residential house, zoned as commercial. So we really kind of went deep on that subject. And then we also discussed the lending on the back end, because when you're flipping property, you're really dependent on the buyer that's buying the property from you from being able to get a loan. And if they can't get the loan, then they can't cash you out. So we talked about that. And then we celebrated a lot of the tribe's wins. People that are making offers, getting deals, getting their first couple of deals. So super excited for the tribe. It was a great webinar. Watch it. All right. All right. Can you hear me? Mic check. I don't have my normal equipment because I stayed here in Oahu a little bit longer than I expected. What's up, Will?
Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Mic check.
Place to be. Here we are. What it is to do. Good to see you, Mr. Camacho.
What's up, man? You there busy? You got a sweater on. Is it cold in LA?
It was a little bit colder this morning, but I probably don't need it on anymore. It's a nice day outside, but we had the AC on and kept it cool. So how's the Oahu weather?
It's pretty perfect right now, so no complaints. I just went for a run along Waikiki Beach and great views.
Good stuff, man. Well, we'll get in and let people kind of trickle in as they come. I see Ulysses there in the chat, and a couple other folks. As you guys do come in, go ahead and use the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from and where you're at. This will be a fun webinar. This is our open house one, so just really kind of an open conversation. We'll open up the channel in a minute and let everybody in, and everybody can turn on their cameras, and we'll just really kind of keep it relaxed. This is our virtual open house networking event, which is again kind of for you guys. You guys get to chat, you guys get to talk, what kind of issues you guys are having, what you need help with. So that should be pretty fun. In the meantime, Alex, why don't you kind of update us? Like what's up with you? Why are you in Oahu? What's going on? What are you up to out there?
Yeah, so this hopped over to Oahu. So we closed on, and this one's really, really special, right? We closed on our oceanfront beach house here on the west side of Oahu. So I'm over here working to hire the project manager to really get a very clean and a specific scope of work for the property, because it's a full rehab. So it's going to need a lot of work. But, because it's on the water and it's on Oahu, it's a special project. So spending some time over here. Now, we are going to be sending out a new opportunity for some funding on the deal. Although we did close on it already. For the rehab, we are looking to raise some capital for that. So if you're interested, you guys let us know. That comes with a week stay at the property included. So keep that in mind. Also, our Maui house.
Yeah, and how cool is that, right? Like literally like staying in Oahu for a week, poolfront property, oceanfront property. Alex and I were debating, like, do you call it oceanfront or beachfront? And it was a funny conversation to be on, because it was like, well, man, both are like really exciting, right? Like one's not worse than the other, but like which one is it? And so
it's an oceanfront beach house.
Yeah, or is it exactly, or do you combine them both into it? And so it's like it's a really, really special place, just like the property that we acquired over on Maui. And so again, these Hawaiian island properties, guys, they're special. These are really exciting properties that you get to bring back, and the islands, they have really spiritual vibes and really cultural vibes out there. And so to be able to play a part in resurrecting a property that's kind of fallen out of grace is really exciting out there.
Yeah, definitely. And we got a lot of great candidates for the project manager position, but we're gonna interview them and we're gonna see who's the best fit. So excited about that. The house in Maui, thanks to the team over there, Mike, Mikey, Mark, everybody that helped out with getting that house to the finish line. the house is officially done. Just a couple little final punch list items. My partner, Ethan, is flying in today, and he's going to spend a month in the property. So also really exciting to spend time with him. He's been a fantastic partner on that property. And then he's bringing his family, so he's going to be able to enjoy the property for a month. After that, though, we're going to be using that property as more as a vacation rental, more as a second home, more as kind of a bonus for our network and ways to connect with our network as well. So I'm excited about repositioning that property as well. And also we're going to have, from what I believe, all of our money out. It's going to be a full burr, and so that'd be great to then have that property already refinanced and then have all our money out on that one and keep it. Also here on Oahu, I'm just hanging with a couple of my buddies, Indar, he's a big Hawaii flipper here. Also, Jeremy Mateo, agent, but now I would say he's more of an investor now. So good to hang with those couple guys. And then we also did a meetup here. So met with some people here on Oahu. Again, trying to hire a project manager. So just talking to a lot of people to get the right game plan for that property. And then also, I've been super busy and frankly a bit stressed out about this 18 unit in Phoenix that we're purchasing, simply because it's just the conversations with the bankers are different. Everything is just, it's a commercial property. It's different than buying a single family house or even just like a little duplex or something. So they're asking for a lot more information. The paperwork is I'm just drowning in paperwork right now, but it is what it is. It's a good thing. It's helping me also to dive deep into like just the business, the numbers. We're working on over 20 properties right now. I think it's 21 or 22 now. And so, it's quite a lot of stuff, a lot of moving parts, and you're doing a great job, Will, of putting systems in place with the team, the virtual team, and also the team in LA. And I can't wait to get back in the mud right there with you guys in LA in a couple months once my house is done there. And lastly, though, you guys, so I don't know who's going, but we're doing a bus tour on Saturday. So I don't know who's going to make it out there, but we're going to basically look at 7 properties and take a nice tour of the Antelope Valley and some of the investment deals that we're doing there. And I think that's going to be a lot of value. I mean, I honestly think that's like a $10,000 value, because it's going to be you and me for pretty much the whole day of Saturday, looking at 7 properties, teaching people what we're doing over there. And it's only a couple $100, like $200. We can't do that for free because, it's not a free event, but excited to hang out with everybody there.
Yeah, and I mean, again, when you kind of go down like what we're doing on that, it's something that I got to do with a couple of our private lenders, on a one-on-one basis, and take them up and kind of see some of these properties in the area. But it's really a special thing because we have, 7 properties that are all right next to each other in this same Antelope Valley that we own at the same time, that we're able to go out and see, and they're all in different stages of their flip or their investment cycles. So some of them, we're holding one of them as a burr property. You guys will get to see that one. We'll dissect why we kept it as a burr, what made it burr quality. You guys will get to see a multifamily that one of our partners, flipped right next door to a property that we're taking down. That was a 6-figure deal. So I think on that one street alone, we've made over $500,000 together, and that's in one street of Antelope Valley. So you'll get to see a couple properties that are under rehab. I think this will really be a special trip. So I'm excited for this one as well.
Yeah, me too. Get it.
And, again, I think when you look at the networking that you're going to get to do on that as well, it's going to be pretty fun. So speaking of networking, guys, that's what we're here for today. This is kind of our open house networking event. Without further ado, Alex, if you want to go ahead and make me host, we'll start getting some people in here. And, guys, again, this is kind of a webinar that we like to do for you guys. So we're going to promote everybody into panelists, and, everybody go ahead and join in. And then if you have any, issues, any help that you need, we'll kind of go through and you got a couple sets of eyes on here that can help you out.
Yeah. What's up, Cecilia? What's up, Amari? What's up, everybody? We got Jonathan in the house. We got Mikey. Who's got some challenges? Who's got some questions about some real estate deals? Oh, we got someone new here.
All right, who's got something?
Man, Will Orozco in the building. What's up, Will? What's up, Andy? What's up, Ulysses?
Yeah, I got a question. I saw you guys' meetup thing. And I know you guys are going to look at one of your projects, which is a manufactured house. So when you're going to dispo a manufactured house on a permanent foundation, how is that different financing wise for your end buyer for like a normal single family? Is there anything that's peculiar about that?
Yeah, great question, right? Because I mean, like, manufactured homes are a little bit different, right? Alex, you have, for those of you guys that don't know, you can have manufactured homes, and that's a fancy way of saying a mobile home, right? But you hardly ever hear somebody who owns a mobile home call it that. It's always a manufactured home. And these manufactured homes can either come in a park, which is something that, one of Alex's mentors, Brandon Turner, he acquires parks that have these pads with manufactured homes on them. And then for ours is just a manufactured home on what Dom called a permanent foundation, right, Alex? So those are a little bit different.
Yeah. So great question, a very specific question. I like those. So what I'd say is you just have to pay attention closely to the end buyer pool of that, and the end buyer pool of that. And I guess it does depend, right, if it's in a park or not. But let's assume that it's just a manufactured on a permanent foundation on a piece of land that you will all, you own all of it. Well, there's only certain lenders that will actually lend on that type of property. So I think that's a little bit better question for a mortgage broker. But I do know quite a lot about loans. I used to be in the mortgage business. So they're better for, generally speaking, what I've noticed is that it's better kind of to go FHA with those generally. And so it's going to be either cash or some type of financing for like a first-time home buyer that will finance that type of property. So I think that it might be a different, because you said dispo, because that means that you're wholesaling the deal. So that would be a little bit different as opposed to just be like, okay, let me sell it to just cash buyers. Well, you could technically sell it to somebody else like an FHA buyer, maybe be a longer escrow, and then you could make a lot more money because they're probably going to pay more too. Is that helpful? Any follow-up questions on that?
Yeah, when I meant dispo, I just meant like get rid of the property or like your exit strategy. Mainly, I'm thinking about like a fix and flip on a manufactured home where you own the land. So I think you kind of answered my question. You can go, the buyer can use FHA, or they can use like a conventional loan to buy it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I don't know conventional lens on it. Honestly, it's been a while. You do need to check with guidelines on that, but I know FHA still does active when it was manufactured, so they do ask for some stuff there. But yeah, I would get close with a mortgage broker, somebody that does those type of loans, so that way you could be more familiar with that, what the end buyer pool can qualify for, or what properties that that would fit into. But yeah, so that's what but that could potentially again make you a lot more money, because an FHA buyer is going to pay way more than a cash buyer would.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, and a couple big things that you want to watch out for, and we have title reps that we kind of have that we work with on a regular basis, and we have ones that we send when we think we have a sticky situation, right? So we're always going to check with our title rep on these kind of deals and just see like, hey, what does this show as on title? Is it showing as a single family residence? Is it showing as a manufactured? Is it showing, what does it actually show as? And then usually they'll be able to give you some advice on that. And then what you're looking for is you're looking for a couple of documents. One of them is called a 433A. And that usually just states that the property is on a permanent foundation, and the manufactured home itself was actually moved from the manufacturer to this location. They certify that they moved it and they left it on that location and left it there. And if you move that manufactured home from that location, then it's now no longer able to be qualified for an FHA loan or a conventional loan in certain areas, because it's been moved. And so it no longer qualifies for those because a 433A is no longer valid. So you're looking for those. And then you're usually looking for a build certificate. It's usually in by like the washer and dryer. They'll have, like a closet that you open up and like a water heater. It'll kind of have, some building information about the unit on there that you want to kind of verify as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Will.
Yes, sir. Great question, man. Again, I love the specific question on that. That specific property, that's a mobile home. Just recently locked that one up. I posted about it on Instagram, and we went 50K over asking on that. It's going to be a 6-figure deal that we made off of a mobile home out there. And again, just shows that there's opportunity anywhere to be had out there in Antelope Valley, or tons of different ways to make money in real estate, right?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things, when we make like a 6-figure profit on like a $200,000-$300,000 house. I mean, call me a capitalist, but man, that's a great ROI. So let's get that one closed, baby.
Yeah, for real. I mean, I again, and those are the deals that when we go into them, we know, hey, we want to make sure that we get a good profit margin on this, because it was a heavy rehab. It was a big fixer. It took a little bit more time than some of our other traditional deals out there in the Antelope Valley, but we're able to reap a little bit bigger of a reward from that too. So that's always a good part of that also.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other questions on mobile homes? Again, we're not experts in mobile homes. We've done a couple, but those are the biggest kind of takeaways that I've learned so far when looking, Dom, is you want to kind of verify those couple of things if you're buying outside of a park.
Yeah, I got to follow up. I was looking at one. That's funny. I was looking at California City. It popped up. You guys might have taken a look at it. I could not find comps for the life of me for it. So do you guys kind of have a rule of thumb on that if you can't find a mobile home comp to look at that property?
Yeah, I mean, for this property, we had to go outside of our range, right, Alex? On the 6-figure deal, we had to go a little bit further out. But we just said, hey, there's other mobile homes that are selling. You also want to know what the cost of a new mobile home is. So if you take into consideration what the cost of a brand new mobile home getting put out to there, what would the cost of an existing one be? Because it's always going to be less than that.
Yeah. That's a great question. Yeah, I mean, that's the best thing I would recommend is something similar to that. Is like either go farther out or go like farther back. And then you just kind of have to think about what the market's done, since if the comp is like, say, 9 months old, ideally you want to comp sooner, but if that's all you have, then you got to have some type of some type of value you could estimate there. If not, then you just have to be ultra conservative, unfortunately.
Great questions, man. Who else has a question, anything there, kind of if you're making offers on something? I know Dom's making an offer out there in California City, so great kind of specific questions on that. Anybody else getting stuck on any offers or anything like that?
Yeah, hey guys. I got stuck on looking for comps on a duplex. So I looked further out and further back, and I did find some, but I mean, is there ever a time you can look at a duplex and comp it with a single family?
I don't think that's necessarily the best move. Now, there's a couple of different forms of duplexes, right? So duplex and triplex are like some of the easier ones to have some differences on. For example, like my house hack is a duplex, but I don't necessarily consider it a duplex. I consider mine more of a single family with a back unit. Mine is detached. Most people, when you kind of think of a duplex, you think of a combined wall and there's 2 pieces of it, right? So you want to know, like, is it, because in mine, again, it's superior, right? It's not a 1-1 on one side and a 1-1 on one side making a duplex, right? There's a 3-2 in the front and there's a 1-1 in the back. So it's definitely a single family with a back unit, right? So when you're looking at duplexes, you want to figure out, what do you have? Do you have more of that traditional duplex where you have one structure with 2 buildings? Is it 2 buildings that are identical size with 2 garages in between? Like, what is the structure of it? And you want to try and find a comp that's similar to that.
Okay, so it was pretty similar to your house hack. It was a 3-1 in the front and a 1-1 in the back.
So then in that case, you might need to look under single families, because that person who's selling it might list it as a single family. And you might just need to look on your comps. And if you notice that the comps are all hovering at like 900, 900, 900, and then you see that 1.1, 1.4, click on that 1.1, 1.4, and they either have a pool or they have that additional structure that's generating income. And that's what's causing that, price to be significantly higher than the other comps in the neighborhood.
Okay, got it. Thanks.
Does that make sense? Like, for the single families, because it's a single family house, a lot of people are going to tend to list it as a single family house that just is going to be listed higher. But when you click on the pictures, you're going to be like, oh, okay, got it. There's 2 kitchens. There's, multiple sets of bathrooms. Okay, got it. I'm working with a house that has an ADU. I'm working with a place that has additional living space. So that's probably why it's got that higher kind of price tag.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, it's different from like a joined house with 2 doors on it.
Correct. Like I think that when you think duplex, you think of again, like, hey, there's that door, and then there's a door, you walk up some stairs and you're in a 2-story duplex. You think of, hey, you have one, you could think of a mobile home, a double wide mobile home where it's like, hey, this side is one building, we put a wall in between, shared wall, and those are 2 separate units. So, again, I think that you want to just identify what you have, and the triplex can even come in there as well, Mikey, because you might have something like that where there's then a JADU, or again, going back to my house hack, like I have the ability to add a 3rd unit onto mine, but I would still, if I ever were to list it, probably list it as a single family that just has those bonus spaces.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because a triplex might get confused with, hey, this is one driveway that goes down, to 3 units, 3 doors, like a motel kind of, feel, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
And
Great question, man. Anybody else have any questions on, what he means by that, like with the duplexes and how those are kind of different in comparison to the single families? Cool. Let's open it up. Anybody else got any questions? Fire away, man. Or ladies. I see Cecilia in here.
Hi, Will. Hi, Alex.
Hey, what's up?
What up? Thanks for hosting this, you guys. I don't have any questions right now, but I guess I'll just share a win. I just completed my real estate courses, and then I jumped on this call. So yeah, I'm excited. I am looking forward to that. I just moved here from the Midwest, so I thought it'd be a really great way to meet people and not act as your average agent. Like, I'm not really looking to find retail sellers and buyers. I flipped houses back in the Midwest, so I want to use it to help that, and then obviously help people. And then Ryan Pineda, he just opened up a brokerage he shut down his Vegas one and now is going to do a nationwide one. So I talked with one of his agents yesterday, and yeah, so I'm pretty excited. And
Awesome. Well, congratulations, and we're excited for you. I mean, it sounds like you're focused, and that's what's good. You're like, okay, I'm doing it for this reason, and especially being in a new place, you need to be able to, make connections, network with, start to expand your network. Good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thanks for sharing, Cecilia. Again, guys, it doesn't have to be a question, right? You can share a win from last week. You can share something that you got better at, something you made some improvements on. Think of this as kind of a place where you can give that humble brag. And there's going to be other investors in here that are going to be like, oh, wow, that's cool. Like maybe I can do that in a couple months or a couple weeks or a couple years, right? So maybe somebody else in here is aspiring to become an agent, and you can connect with Cecilia and see what it was like and what she went through. And again, I agree with Alex. I love the fact, Cecilia, that it's not just like you're jumping in to become an agent just to become an agent, but more of like, hey, I'm becoming an agent because I want to connect with more people and get access to more people that are doing this certain type of real estate investing. And that is one way to get involved with people, right? Is get a license and network with other investors, and you're on your way to doing it. So good stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited.
Who else got better last week? Who else made some improvements?
My partner and I, we opened up our LLC for acquisitions, and we submitted, I think, 3 offers. So we're trying to get to 5 this week, trying to have something locked up by end of April.
Dude, that's huge, right? I mean, making a concrete number, right? We call them the SMART goals, where it's like, hey, that's an attainable reachable, trackable, those like, that's huge, right? Like, hey, we want to make, 5 offers every week. We do the same thing with us, right, Alex? Like on our Monday meeting, it's, hey, who made offers, who had trouble with offers. So what was your biggest takeaway from the 3 offers you made this week?
Oh man, yeah, perfect. And I got a brain kind of a brainstorming question. I came across a deal that I thought was going to be a slam dunk. It's in Sugarloaf. I know the ARV there's 325. Along further research, I realized it was one of those seasonal recreation cabins. And I've seen there's some in Big Bear, and then I've seen a lot in 29 Palms. We were looking at the conversion route to single family home, and then we decided, you know what, this is just a little too much. So if anybody has any idea of kind of those properties, I've seen people selling them, turning them into Airbnbs. Like, what's the financing on the back end? Or if anybody has any experience, I'd love to hear it.
So is this a cabin?
Yeah, so it in Sugarloaf, it's kind of like a grid, small little city. So majority of the cabins there are single family homes, but this one from the wholesaler was classified as a seasonal recreational vacation cabin.
So one thing to note on that, and again, you want to kind of check with the, county by county and on ordinances, but one thing that we found out is, housing crisis is pretty big in California now. And so whereas they used to consider 600 square feet or bigger a house, I believe that number is much smaller now. It's somewhere in like the 180 to 190, somewhere around that range. So as long as you have that range, they would rather have that be a single family residence that a family can move into and call home, if it's something that they can, do. And so I would check again, area by area, and say, hey, what does that conversion look like? They're probably going to want to know, does it have a consistent heat source? Does it have a consistent water source? And does it have access to somewhere to connect to and store sewage? Those are the main, usually the big main things that they want to see on a full-time property.
Yeah, that as well as when you come across these different type of properties, a couple of things that we've done, I've seen that is helpful is looking at the title of similar properties and seeing, who's lent money on it, what financial institution has lent money on it, who the buyers were, stuff like that. And then also just leaning on your title reps and, other investors that might have, bought property like that, just so that way you can, get the kind of ins and outs. Another thing is you could look at listings, whether they're sold or expired or anything else. If there's any listings of this kind of property in your area that you could get access to, there's a lot of learning in these like descriptions of like, hey, this cabin, or hey, this, and so or you can call those agents from those listings and ask questions that you might have, because they'll be more familiar with the options, with whatever they're selling the property or sold a similar property, so they're likely to have more information specific to that property type that other people might not have. So I would definitely ask for the help, make the phone call, look at similar property, just to get a better, clear idea of like what is the real financing opportunities here, or financing options here, and because you don't want to evaluate it like a normal house if it doesn't have the same potential exit strategies, the same potential financing for it. So because we've done other kind of like this before, but it really always comes down to like, what kind of financing can the end buyer really get to cash me out? Now that would be if it's a flip or a wholesale, right? So yeah, that's a little bit something to add to that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Anybody else? What's up, guys? Everybody's pretty quiet today.
Yeah, and Dom, we just call that like reverse engineering the deal, right, Alex? Like looking to see how somebody else made the play, and then we just see if we can make a similar play, a similar move.
Yeah, last night, for example, we were analyzing a deal that the property was like, it really looked like 2 duplexes, but it was on a main street and it was zoned as commercial. So just so you guys know, I mean, the commercial lending is much different than residential. So even though this house, it looked like just 2 houses next to each other, because of the zoning and the potential future for like development, it just it's a different outcome. You can't comp it the same as a regular residential. Now, I can't say it's worth more or worth less, but it is different. So we just we ended up having like not really make an offer on it simply because we can't, with confidence, really figure out what the end buyer can get a loan for. And if it's only a commercial property really loan that they can get, then that really limits how many people would be interested in that property. So that being the case, we decided not to make an offer on it because it was hard to evaluate the back end number. We knew houses like that do sell for, say, I don't know, let's just say it was 500. We could pick this thing up for 300. Standard rehab would be, I don't know, 50, 60 grand out there. On the surface, it looks like it would be a good deal. But if we don't have any confidence in the end buyer cashing us out, it doesn't matter what we think we could sell it for. We might not only be able to sell it cash or to some other commercial investor, which is maybe when they only want to pay us $400,000 for that property. And it's like, okay, well, now this deal that looked like a really fat deal, all of a sudden turns into a deal is going to break even. And that's what happens sometimes when you're going outside of your normal, kind of buying box. So just be aware of that because there is learning curves. And then, sometimes you can just think this, you have something in your hands and it's something else. So, Will and I, we dove deep in that property yesterday and we just decided not to make an offer because it just had too much unknowns for the financing on the back end.
And again, I would say, Dominic, that like, Sugarloaf is definitely one of those areas, right? Like that's out of the normal box.
Yeah, that's kind of why I was like, you know what, maybe for the first deal, this isn't the route to go.
Yeah,
Exactly.
man, might want to go with something a little bit more, simple where there's not city involvement and, converting something from an existing, use to another use, like those are kind of more advanced moves, right?
Yeah. And to echo that, like when you're more advanced, you're a bit more resourceful. You've done more deals. You've gone through like being creative a little bit more. So I don't recommend trying to do something like that difficult or that different than the norm on your first couple of deals because it'll be harder for you and it could be discouraging and then it could take a lot of time and then not be profitable. And that's also not, typically, be good for you. So focusing on stuff that's a little bit more cookie cutter or just within the box. And then later on, because I didn't even do any creative financing deals until I had already done a bunch of flips. I had presented it, but I wasn't really ready. Also, on my first seller financing deal, like I had done a bunch of deals before I did that too. And it just gave me confidence because I had already done a bunch of deals. So it really was easier to pull off. And I had more resources because I was able to call multiple title reps. I was able to call other investors because I had a bigger network. So the trickier, kind of more creative deals, I think, should be reserved for, once you're a little bit more, you have a little bit more experience. I'm not saying you can't do it. It just because, there's some learning curves there and it's just different. You don't want to mess things up.
Anybody use the calculator this week to make any offers on any deals?
Who's buying a house this week?
Yeah, that's a big one. Right? Who's taking something down? Who's got something? Nick's got something in the works. Nick's popping something off pretty soon, or Ulysses got something working. I know Dominic's getting one. He said April, but I'm thinking March.
Hope so.
Dominic, when you're looking at properties, what calculator are you using to dissect them and analyze them?
I'm using your guys' calculator. It's been the best one I've used. I actually ran through with Ilium yesterday on Sunday on some of the little variables like the taxes, the cyclical interest, and some of the other stuff that I kind of knew, but I just wanted to confirm.
Good stuff, man. What do you find to be the most beneficial on it?
Honestly, I like the 3 scenarios. I love just going through with my partner and just kind of just send it to him, be like, hey man, how much risk you try to take? We could, get a little bit of profit, have a nice little learning experience, and it could be okay, or it can go to shit and then we're out 10, 15 grand. So thanks for sharing that one with the group. That was great.
Yeah, man, I love it. That's why I like the calculator too, because even when I'm on there with my team, my guys, we're sitting there and we're looking at deals, and it's like, hey man, like, and I ask them, so I'm like, hey, so we're using, I bring up like, we're using your grandparents' last $100,000 to take down this deal then, and they're like, no, not with that worst case scenario, and I'm like, all right, see, so like, that's kind of how we have to look at it as well. Like if you know, if you were, what's your risk tolerance to get that bigger reward, right? To get that best case scenario, what is that like?
Right.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. I know, again, like the calculator for me has been really beneficial. I use it every day when I'm looking at deals. I have it on my phone, you know, so I can just pull it up when I'm at a house. I can just plug in numbers on my phone and kind of give a soft offer right there, or a range, you know, when I'm visiting a house, as opposed to even having to get home and run numbers on the computer. It's right there on my phone, ready to rock and roll. I know, Alex, you have it on your phone. You know, we both use it very regularly. Even if I'm just on the phone with the wholesaler, I'll just be like, okay, what are the numbers? Plug them in real quick, and I'll be like, yeah, it's a hard pass. Like, no go. We're pretty far off.
Yeah, I agree. I know it's one of those tools that you can have at your disposal. What you need are your disposable to. I mean, there's times where I'm not in front of my computer, and you guys call me on a deal, and we jump on a quick Zoom. We look at the calculator, we see the numbers, because at the end of the day, guys, you know, the numbers are really what you need to pay attention to, and because they help you make decisions. And if you don't have good tools to like run your numbers, then you're kind of operating off of not enough information or very limited information, and so that you're more likely to make bad decisions about deals if you don't have good information in front of you. So yeah, that's a critical tool we use every day. Anybody else? What's up, guys? We still got a couple minutes.
Yeah, no, Cecilia got better. Dominic got a little bit better. Anybody else get better last week? Anybody having any, you know, struggles last week with their business that they need, you know, a little bit of help getting past? You know, it's not just Alex and I here on the call, but, you know, we got 15, 20 of us on here that are, you know, tuning in or listening in. And, you know, great opportunity if you do have any struggles, anything you're getting stuck on, you know, bring those to light as well right now, because, you know, you will get some help. You'll get some feedback on it. And if everybody has a perfect business, then that means you guys should be, you know, sending us some deals, setting some comps in our neighborhoods, you know, private lending on some deals with people here in the room. You know, people should be making some moves if everything's nice and peachy good. No one needs any help in their business right now. We got 20 people on the call and nobody needs any help.
Hey
All
guys,
right, well, Philip, you got something?
speaking up in here. Catch you guys every once in a while. I'm actually a relationship manager and banker. So I'm on the lending side, and follow found you guys through one of Alex's friends who's like a lender also. And I was just wondering if you guys need an opportunity to get like a business line of credit, or how are you guys operating as like an LLC or a corp or a sole prop, or what's the majority, I guess?
LLC. Which bank are you with? Or I don't know if you don't.
I'm
want to
at City National.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So we have a lot of our relations with Wells Fargo, and then also with Central Pacific Bank in Hawaii. But we're always open to other stuff. We just actually got approved for a business line of credit, or a business credit card. We got an increase on that card. We had a low limit on that, so they increased it to like 40,000 for the business credit card. But yeah, we're interested. Send Will or me a DM or a message, and we could talk more about it.
Okay.
Yeah, one thing I'll tell you, man, you're always looking for what? Money, deals, and contractors in this business, right? So I mean, there's a, you know, an ever revolving door where it's you know, you either, you know, you need more money, you need more deals to put the money to, or you need more contractors to take them down. So we'll definitely be in touch, Philip. And you know, I'm sure if anybody else in the room is in need of, you know, lending help or questions, I'm sure you can reach out, and you know, Philip can be a you know, a guidance or you know, light for you as well.
Yeah, I'll put my email in the chat, and then you guys can reach out.
And Philip, you're lending at what, 0.4% hard money? No, I'm kidding.
We actually,
No, so yeah, I mean, again, you guys, like those are the three things you're always looking for in this business. So you know, I'm sure Philip has different rates on different deals and different projects. So make sure you reach out to him If he throws his email in there and you know, connect and chat if you have any questions on that. Anybody have any questions on lending while we have Phil in the room?
Yeah, I have a question.
Fire
Go
away,
ahead.
man.
Okay, so when it comes to the hard money lender and the rehab lending, because the one I'm connected with right now is 100% rehab. How does that work? Does it just get added onto the purchase price, or
Like for construction.
yeah, for like a fix and flip?
So we could actually, I have connections, so I'm a relationship banker, and then I have a commercial lending officer and a residential lending officer. It's City National is a conservative bank, so we're gonna be pretty much on a paper credit. And to do any construction lending, it's
Mhm.
gonna be on a high level. I believe the portfolio has to start at 10 million value. So it's not really gonna be on that one-off or couple property, just to be
Oh, okay.
honest. I would actually like to connect with you guys as business owners, like, because you guys run a business, you know. This is a business, and if you're not running it as a business, I mean, everybody listening to Alex and Will, they're all about business, you know. So, and
Mhm.
creating that right structure, you know. And
Yeah.
so I would actually kind of trying to come on as like to give you guys some extra power as your business, you know.
Yeah, and then so I think the question was more about like construction rehab on a hard money loan.
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you repeat the question? I just want to answer. I think there was we can.
Yeah, I
Phil,
think
it
it's
doesn't
mostly
sound like
related
Philip
to
does
like
those
if
type
you,
of loans
yeah,
specifically.
yes, I think he was saying if you have like 100%, you know, rehab financing on there, right, Jonathan?
Yeah.
And you know, typically when that happens, like Alex, we take on 100% financing, and there's a place for it on our calculator, right? So on the calculator, you can put in there whether you have 100%,
Mhm.
50%, you know, rehab financing, and you know, typically when that happens, Alex, we have to do draws, right?
Oh, okay.
Most of
Yes.
those lenders aren't just going to hand you a 100K rehab estimate, you know, right out the front door with the rest of the loan, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. So they require that they do an inspection. So once you close on the property, and then you spend some money, say on initial demo, and then trash out, and then
Mhm.
you know, kind of then you reach out to them, say, hey, I've already spent 15 grand, and they reimburse you that 15 grand that you spent. So you do need to have the money, but it is a good system usually when you have multiple deals, because then it ties up less capital, because
Yeah.
you don't have to come out of the, your own pocket. Some hard money lenders are easier on the draw schedule than others, meaning like some can take a little bit of time, or maybe their inspectors, you have to schedule an inspection and it takes them, a week to come out and inspect the work you've been done. So just expect those kind of delays at point as well, because it's not perfect system, but then you are using less capital. In other occasions for us, we've kind of opted not to do the construction if it's a very light rehab, because we just don't want to have
Oh,
to
okay.
go through like, okay, so this thing's like a $25,000-$30,000 rehab. We might not elect to do the construction financing through the hard money lender, because we don't need that for them to hold our hand. We kind of know what we're doing. So it also, it does depend on that as well. Like, are you, is it a heavy rehab? If it's not, then, might not be the best fit, but either in either case, I just expect to have to go through a process to get the money from them on once you start doing the draws, if you're gonna elect to do that with them. But like I said, it's not perfect. There are some delays, but it does help with like using less capital as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, and like Alex said, sometimes we use the hard money loans, and then sometimes we decide to instead go with like a private money loan instead, to cover that financing. It just depends case by case, property by property basis. So good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. exactly.
Guys, I know there's a couple new people here in the chat. If you don't mind, use that chat feature over there on the right. Go ahead and let everybody in the chat know where you're from. If you're new, you know, where you're from, what your Instagram handle is so that we can follow you. I know I see Amari on there, Amari.rei. That guy's a killer on Instagram. I always see him dropping some fire behind the scene videos from our rehab project. So good stuff there, man. If you're on Instagram, like I said, let us know where you're from, where you're tuning in from. That way we can keep up and follow with you guys. Who else, while we finish this thing up, we got another 15 minutes or so in here. You know, who else has something they want to share, something they need some help on? You know, anything you want to get off your chest, let us know. I also shared the Facebook group in there. If you guys aren't on the Facebook group, great resource in there. If you're new, make sure you join, make sure you share your Instagram on there as well so people can connect. And, you know, we always post our events and things like that in there also. So stay connected.
Yep.
Who else, guys? Anybody?
I
had a
got one.
question.
Go ahead, Will.
Oh, no, go ahead, Will. Fire away.
Yeah, so just regarding the hard money lenders, I was wondering, other than like the percentages and the points, are there other fees? What other fees can be expected from hard money lenders, or should there be any other fees?
I mean, on ours, Alex, we get some fees, right? We have origination fees, we have, you know, points. So typically with your hard money lender, you just want to, you know, get that information from them on the front end. And we have on the calculator closing costs. And so that's kind of where we use to just kind of estimate, and you know, we can use different estimations there so that, you know, hey, like what's the worst case? Well, worst case is we might have to pay a little bit more. Best case is we don't have to pay that origination fee. Sometimes once you do a couple of deals, there's no longer an origination fee. I just talked to, you know, our lender and I was like, hey man, so we getting some better rates? And he was like, yeah, we are actually. You just qualified for a better rate now that you've done this many deals with us. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Great news. You know, so as you do more and more deals with lenders and they become, you know, more and more familiar with you, they're willing to make certain exemptions and things like that on fees that they might charge because they know that your business is, you know, more than likely going to be recurring and coming back around the circle.
Yeah, and you can negotiate the terms and price of deals with them. Not a bunch at the beginning, but once you start to do more than a couple of deals with a certain lender, you'll have a little bit of leverage to negotiate that. But typically, it's just the interest rate they're charging you with, which is the monthly payment, the points they charge you for the initial money, which is typically around 2 points, give or take. And we go down to sometimes it's like 1.25, you know, points with one of our lenders. But yeah, so the points that you're going to pay, and then they at acquisition they usually have some type of like what we call just junk fees. You know, like $1,495 like administrative like fee or whatever that is. And they worded it kind of differently, but essentially it's just like additional fees that they're charging. Now again, you could try to negotiate stuff like that. But if the deal is good enough and then you really feel they're going to perform, it's okay. But you know, just be careful because they really try to get you and just, you know, make as much money as possible. They're very for profit. So you got to kind of watch out and call them out on extra fees if you see them on the estimate in an escrow. But yeah, so there's those kind of categories. It's the interest, the points, and then quote unquote admin or junk fees. Our admin and junk fees, though, you really want to try to keep those like around no more than $1,000 or $2,000 because they could get kind of excessive as well. I think you dealt with some interest as well on your deal, right, Will, where the hard money lender, oh no, that was a wholesaler. Never mind.
Yeah, and again, just like ask, right? Ask on the beginning, what are those fees? Like what do you guys charge? Some lenders charge a fee if you go past your bridge loan timeline, right, Alex? If you do a 12-month bridge loan and you pass that timeline, there's going to be a fee for passing that timeline. So if your flip takes more than a year, you know, you might want to know that, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys.
And each lender, like Alex said, is different, right? You can negotiate with one and, you know, let them know, hey, I got this from another lender. You know, I want to do this deal, but I needed it this. Can you make that happen? Big thing is, like Alex said, have a maximum number in mind, like the maximum number you're willing to go up to. And for us, like the points, once you do a couple of deals, the points aren't really what matters. You know, the percentages aren't really what matters. What matters more than anything is the service. You know, how quickly they're able to turn around, whether they do inspections or whether they just, you know, trust you and are like, hey, we've never had a loss with these guys in the past. We're just going to go ahead and, you know, push this file through for these guys. Or, you know, those are the things that really get more and more important as you do more and more deals.
And I'll add that we really like maximum leverage. That's not for everybody, but yeah, it's like I like deals that they're, you know, funding 100% rehab and 90% of the purchase. That means I only have to come in with 10%. That is more advanced because they trust you to, you know, get this project to the finish line. But that's what I'm looking for too. Is I want maximum leverage, I want good service, and it's just fair pricing. That's what I look for.
Cool, guys. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yes,
Yeah, good
sir.
stuff, man. Good question.
I know you guys submit a lot of your offers straight from the MLS. For those fresh MLS deals, if your numbers are kind of coming in low, are you still submitting an offer? And if so, has the listing agent ever just said, no, I'm not going to submit that? Or do you guys just kind of drop it and like, oh, that offer's unrealistic in this market?
Man, when I'm making offers, I mean, if I look at a deal, I'm making an offer on it. But keep in mind, like, you know, the lifespan of a deal, if it's just listed and it's listed low and you're coming in even lower than it, like, you better know that there's other investors that are going to come in above you, right? And that's the problem with the MLS is, you know, usually it gets bid up out of, you know, range for a lot of other investors to take it down. But, you know, when you see that offer come in, you know, for me, like, you know, you have a different strategy when you're dealing with an offer or a deal in days 0 to 1 or 0 to 3 than days 3 to 7 and days 7 and on, because, you know, again, like that agent, yeah, they have no reason to really look at yours. So one of the big questions I always ask is, when are you reviewing offers? That's the big question, because why they're probably not going to present your offer is they're not reviewing until next week, and they already have higher offers. So she's not going to waste your, you know, hey, seller, I got this lowball offer here from Dominic. Did you want to take a look at it? You know, it's just not going to be worth their time, right?
Right. Okay.
So what's more important is finding out, when are you going to review that offer? If I were to hit a certain number, would you close down the listing right now? That's what I usually try to ask for in the first couple of days when it's fresh is, hey, what's your plan? Like, are you planning on holding this open through the weekend? Okay, yeah, you are. That makes sense. So then you're going to review offers next week. Okay. If I were to give you an offer of $1 million right now for the $500,000 house, would you, you know, hold it open this week? Yeah, you would. Okay. The seller just, you have to hold it open. The seller expects that. Okay, cool. You know, now I know what the expectations are. Versus if they're like, no, the seller is actually ready for an offer. If one came right now, you know, they don't need to hold it open. If you know, everything's buttoned up on the offer, they're ready to accept it. If, you know, this was the number, then you're good to go.
Okay. And then kind of follow up, what are you, how are you guys writing your offers to make them competitive? Are you doing like 14-day close of escrow, no contingencies, or is it deal by deal?
Yeah, deal by deal, case by case. And you know, again, that has to do with that same question. So right after you ask that, I asked that agent, like, so what do I need to be competitive in my offer? Like, just like you asked me right there, like, how are you guys being competitive? I asked the agent, like, okay, so when I submit my offer and we want to close this thing up today, like, I want you to get your double end commission. I want me to get my house. I want the seller to, like, check this out, agent. I can literally fix everybody's problems right now. I want the house. Seller wants it to be gone. You want a commission. Check this out. Boom. I can do it. Right. I'm your guy. So you know, again, you want them to kind of get that impression. And sometimes to do that, you have to, you know, make that offer verbally. Sometimes you have to make it a little bit more aggressively. Sometimes you have to make it on paper. But yeah, we're definitely doing it all those ways.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Will.
Yeah, man. Alex, any other follow-up on that? I mean, I'd say that that's pretty accurate to how we're doing our offers, right?
Yep. No, I don't have anything to add.
And you know, again, why we like making those offers is because, you know, if and why we like asking those agents, and that's why, guys, 99% of the deals, 100% of the deals I took down last year were with the listing agent, is because that listing agent knows way more than any buyer's agent that might just be finding you a deal on MLS. That listing agent can tell you, hey, you know what, your 14-day close, that actually is not what the seller wants. The seller needs 60. I lost a deal like that because I put 14-day close and the agent was like, yeah, your offer was higher, but you said 14 days. And I was like, man, so you went with that guy's offer? He was like, yeah, it's 10K lower, but he said 60 days was fine. I was like, 60 days was fine. Of course it was fine. I was like, man, you should have told me. And she was like, oh, you should have asked. And then I was like, yeah, I should have. That was my fault. So I like to ask the agent now, like, hey, what is it that's going to get this offer competitive? What if I put this in this piece of paper and send it over to you, what does that seller want to see on there for this to be the deal they accept? And they accept right now.
Okay.
So when you make an offer on the MLS, do you always have the listing agent represent you?
In 100% of the deals I took down last year, yes, I did.
Okay.
Do you know why, Jonathan?
Why?
So do you know how much money is available usually on a typical commission on a listing?
Around 6%.
6%. Yep. So half goes to the person that brings the listing together, and the other half goes to the person that brings the buyer, right?
Yeah.
So if
Makes
you had to
sense.
deal with a lot of stuff to get that listing, do you want to give half of it up?
No.
No, right? That's why you have your sign outside. That's why you went and door knocked all the houses next door. Hey, you have any family members that want to move in? Like, I'm selling this house, right? Like, you're trying to get that double commission.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So when I come in and I get you on the phone and I go, hey, man, I'm that guy that's going to get you the double commission. Like, what do we need to do to make this happen? That agent is going to probably be like, hey, let's make this happen. Like, I want to get that money too. So like, let's imagine on a $700,000 purchase price, 6%, that's 30, 40 grand, right?
Yeah.
What's 2 to 3%? 20 to 30 grand, right?
Yeah.
A lot less. So
Makes sense.
yeah, I mean, like you want to put yourself in the best position to get that deal, and 99% of the time that agent that's talking directly to the seller is going to put you in that best position. So it's like the game of telephone, right? The seller tells something to the agent sells something to your agent tells something to you. Like, you're already 4 stages down the telephone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You want to eliminate as many people on that telephone as you can. Now it's just the seller said, hey, this is what we need to do to make this move forward. This guy tells you, hey, this is what we need to do to move forward. You tell him, cool, let's do that. Let's move forward.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool, guys. Anybody else have any last, feedback or last minute questions here? We'll go and wrap things up. And hopefully we'll see some of you guys out here on the bus trip this week in Antelope Valley. As I mentioned, I posted the Facebook group in there as well. So if you're new, make sure you join, connect in there. We always kind of can keep the conversation going on so that you can connect in between this week and next Wednesday. And look forward to seeing you guys here next Wednesday, if not on the weekend.
Yeah, likewise, guys. If you have any questions, you know how to reach us. Stay active. Keep on making offers. You're only one deal away. We built this business over a couple of years, so it's not like it's something that just happened overnight. But whether you want to be a full-time investor or just increase your passive income or make more money, these deals are out there. We're getting them, and we're showing you guys how we're doing it specifically on Saturday. But every single week we're out here sharing you what's working for us, so that way in hopes it could help you guys out. So on that note, let's get it, my deal makers. Let us know how we can help. Let's go.
Let's go, guys. We'll see you next week or this weekend. Let's go.